8 centuries ago, on September 30th, 1207, in the town of Vakhsh, in what is today southwestern Tajikistan, a son was born to Muhammad Bahahuddin Velat and his wife Muminya Hatun. Bahahuddin was a religious scholar and mystic of great reputation, whose knowledge and piety were so intense that he came to be known as the king of religious scholars. Little did this couple know, however, that their baby boy, whom they named Muhammad, in honor of the last prophet and messenger of the one God, would one day grow to be a man whose reputation would surpass that of his esteemed father. Little did they know that their son's ecstatic and uncompromising religious devotion would one day be so powerful that his spiritual poetry would continue to refresh and reanimate souls all around the world for centuries after his death. This great and humble man is known to the ages as Mevlana Jalaluddin Rumi. His spiritual legacy has been so profound and so enduring that the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization has declared 2007 to be the year of Mevlana Jalaluddin Rumi. 2007, then, is a year in which we pay special tribute to this 13th century figure, whose life and teachings so passionately exemplify what UNESCO has described as the universal values of tolerance, reason, and access to knowledge through love. Who exactly was this man, who is often referred to simply as Mevlana, our master, or Rumi, meaning the one who lived most of his life in Anatolia? First and foremost, Mevlana Jalaluddin Rumi was a Muslim. His life was radically defined by his commitment both to study and observe God's law for humanity as revealed in the Quran and the example of the Prophet Muhammad. In fact, it would be no exaggeration to say that Mevlana actually lived up to the honorific portion of his name. He was, by all accounts, Jalaluddin, an exemplar of the religion of Islam. He was a Muslim who, by all accounts, lived a life of unmitigated submission to the one true God. By giving witness to God's utter uniqueness, by observing 5 daily obligatory prayers, by giving obligatory alms and other kinds of charity to those in need, and by fasting during the month of Ramadan, and by journeying to Mecca and performing the rites of the sacred pilgrimage at least once in his life, Rumi followed the path of the Prophet Muhammad in his striving to place God at the uncontested center of his life. But Mevlana was not only a Muslim. He was also a migrant on both the material and spiritual planes of his existence. Along with his family, Rumi left his Central Asian homeland on the eve of the devastating Mongol invasion. His personal experience leaving home and traveling for years before eventually reaching his adopted Anatolian home in Konya undoubtedly made its mark on his spirituality. As a migrant who wandered for many years without a permanent home, Mevlana had an acute sense of the suffering of people whose experience of being displaced or bereft of resources were much more severe than his own. At the same time, it is evident from his poetry that Mevlana understood both the pain and the growth that results from being on a journey to find where one needs to be. It is no coincidence that themes and images of loss, return, and loss once again abound in Rumi's poetry, where he plumbs the depth of his own relationship with the God who is both enthroned high above the heavens in inapproachable light, and yet at the same time is closer to the human being as his or her jugular vein. Finally, Mevlana was a mystic whose experience of spiritual purification through love began in earnest on November 29, 1244. It was on this day when Rumi met the wandering dervish and master of the interior life known as Shamsi Tabrizi. In and through his relationship with Shams, Rumi came to understand the spiritual significance of his own experience as an actual migrant. He came to understand that all human longing for home is rooted in the deep structure of the human heart, which was designed for a singular underlying purpose: to draw the human being into a closer relationship with God. In this respect, the practice Rumi learned from Shams, the practice of contemplative turning on the axis of the left leg, and thus of the heart, reveals itself as a metaphor for the blessed state in which every fiber of an individual's being revolves around the central axis of the merciful and compassionate Creator and Sustainer of all things. In and through his relationship with Shams, Rumi also came to see that if the most basic purpose of the heart is to put a person in relationship with the divine, then all other relationships within the created order, especially relationships with one's fellow human beings, are mystical gateways into closer relationship with the Creator. Though he never forgot that his mystic master was merely and thoroughly human, this is how Rumi was drawn into a deeper and deeper intimacy with God through his profound love for Shams. At the opening of his great epic poem, the Masnavi, Mevlana invites his listeners to explore the secret of human existence by hearkening to the message hidden in the plaintive tones of the ney, or reed flute. Listen to the reed flute, says Rumi, as it tells the story, as it complains about its experiences of separation. Ever since they cut me from the reed bed, men and women lament when they hear the song of my sorrow. The bosom I seek is one ripped to shreds from the experience of separation, so that I might adequately describe the pain of longing. Whoever is far from her roots wants to go back to the day when she was still connected. I have sung my song of sorrow in every type of gathering, joining both the distressed in spirit and those at peace. Each person became my friend according to his own conceit. No one sought my secrets from within me. My secret is not far from my lament. Yet that light belongs neither to the eye nor ear. The body is not concealed from the soul, and neither is the soul from the body. Yet no one ever seems to see the soul. In his poetry and in his ritual legacy of turning, known as the Sama, Mevlana attempts to evoke in those with eyes to see, with ears to listen, and with hearts to be torn by love, the quiet secret of human existence. It is a secret that is perhaps even more easily lost in the noise of modern secular materialism and individualism than it was in the days of Mevlana himself. What is this secret? One can never say for sure or adequately express it in words. Perhaps it is that we are only whole when we fully realize our need for the one divine beloved whom we can never possess. Perhaps it is that we can only hope to attain wholeness by stepping outside ourselves in authentic, loving relationships with others. Of course, only our own sincere searches will reveal what this secret is, and God knows best.